Hello everyone and welcome back to another Star Wars The Black Series action figure review. Today I'm incredibly excited to be giving you guys an early look at Kyle Katarn, the protagonist of the Dark Forces and Jedi Knight video game series and my personal all-time favourite Star Wars character. Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2 was my introduction to the Star Wars galaxy, and playing those video games in the late 1990s with my dad is a core memory that is so pivotal to my Star Wars journey. So to have this character as a tangible piece of my collection is an absolute dream come true, and Hasbro nailed it. The likeness to the character is spot on. He includes the iconic weapons he carries throughout the games, and the articulation, details of the costume, and overall execution really have to be commended. So we'll jump into the full review of this figure shortly. Before we do, we'll run through the packaging, but first and foremost, a huge thanks to RoboQuiff Collects for providing this figure from his personal collection for a review. I have this one on pre-order with staractionfigures.co.uk, and if you'd like to grab one for yourself, there is a link down below in the video description. So let's get into it, and like I said, we'll kick things off by taking a look at the packaging that Kyle comes in. So as you can see, Kyle does come in standard Black Series style packaging. Being a part of the Gaming Greats subline, he does feature the Gaming Greats sticker on the front of the window, and we also have the Gaming Greats colour band around the front of the box. Now as you can see, this figure is labelled as part of the Star Wars Dark Forces series, but the figure is mostly based on his appearance in Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast. The inclusion of the lightsaber and just the overall appearance of the figure is very heavily based on that game, so it's a little bit strange that Hasbro decided to list this one as being part of Dark Forces, but be that as it may, it's not a detriment to the figure itself, it's just something worth pointing out. On the side of the box we have the mural artwork, which looks really good. This is a little bit weird because it's heavily inspired by Kyle's appearance in Dark Forces 2, so there's a bit of an eclectic mix of appearances going on with this figure, not just with the figure itself, but obviously with the images and text that's been used on the packaging. We do have the star map in the background there, which he uses to locate the Valley of the Jedi, and the image of Kyle on the spine of the box is very heavily based on the live action appearance of Kyle in Dark Forces 2, where he's played by Jason Court. On the back of the box we have that image once again, the Dark Forces logo, and a brief description of the character. So pretty standard stuff in terms of packaging. I will obviously be ripping this one open when it becomes a part of my own collection, so the packaging is neither here nor there, but the figure inside is absolutely fantastic. So let's jump into this review and take a look at Kyle Katarn. So here we have Kyle Katarn himself out of his plastic prison and looking very cool indeed. Like I said, I'm absolutely blown away by how good this figure is. Not only is the overall execution of the figure absolutely superb, maybe I'm a little bit blinded by the fact that he's my favourite character and it didn't matter how this one turned out, I'd have loved it all the same. But just looking at this one, the articulation engineering, the accessories, the lightness, as I said earlier on, everything about this figure just ticks every box for me, and I'm so happy with the way that Hasbro executed this one. Now, I will touch base on the reuse that's been used on this one first, as there is a little bit of retooling going on. You will notice that the legs of the figure are not brand new and exclusive to this one. They are recycled from Jedi Master Sol from the Acolyte, but that's not a problem. They certainly fit the bill and look absolutely fine as they are. Very similar to the pants and boots that Kyle wears in the games and in the other comic books and other media appearances that he's had. Really cool looking figure though, right off the bat. I mean, looking at him on face value, you'd think he's just a guy with a lightsaber and a few questions, but he's so much more than that. He's just, like I said, a fever dream for me as a Star Wars fan and collector. I never thought in a million years that characters like this would make their way into the Black Series line. So to actually have this in my hand, it's just so bizarre. It really doesn't feel real, if I'm being honest, and I'm just so happy that not only did Hasbro release this character, but they poured so much love and care and attention into it, and it really shows and reflects. Like I said, the details on the costume are absolutely fantastic. Got the droid caller there on his belt, buckles and pouches and all that sort of stuff going on. There's even a little hole there for the peg on the lightsaber hilt, which the blade can detach from, and you can plug that in if you so wish. You've got the holster there, which he can store his iconic Briar pistol into as well. He's obviously got the shoulder pad up top. Just overall an absolutely stellar looking figure. Not a great deal going on in terms of his overall costume. It's just a regular shirt, pants, and nice little bit of detail going on the gauntlets and stuff. So the design of the character is very minimal, but it just means so much to me as a fan to have this. Like I said, this is going to be a very biased, very one-sided review, because even though this figure is absolutely fantastic, I'm just floored by the fact that we have this character in the Black Series line and that he is as good as he is. Now, as I mentioned, that head sculpt is absolutely superb. He has been portrayed in various media by various, well, not various actors, but he's had different iterations, very similar to Dash Rendar in a lot of ways, that there's no one single appearance for him. He does look different in every media iteration, so he's been played in live action, he's been portrayed in comic books, video games, all that sort of stuff, digital cutscenes. So the likeness is very heavily inspired by Jason Court, who portrays him in live action, but you can definitely see the influence there of his other appearances from across those different media. Really, really cool looking figure though. Like I said, the photoreal face printing technology obviously goes a long way to really bring that head sculpt to life. But one of the things that I really like about this one is the fact that the hair, like most Black Series figures, is sculpted separately from the rest of the head. And that really goes a long way to add depth and realism to the likeness overall. And again, the sculpt in the hair itself is really, really good. Even the gradient in the beard that's been painted there looks really, really nice. I just don't think Hasbro could have done a better job with this figure if they'd tried. It really is that good. Now, in terms of accessories, as I mentioned, he does come with the lightsaber. Again, this goes back to his appearance in Jedi Outcast. This is the lightsaber that he uses in that game. He features a green lightsaber, if I'm not mistaken. No, a yellow lightsaber in Dark Forces 2. And the hilt is slightly different as it's passed down from Jedi Master Ron. This is Kyle's own constructed lightsaber. Obviously, the blue blade can be detached from the hilt, and as I mentioned, you can plug the hilt into the belt. But he also comes with one of these swoosh blade accessories that we first saw with Count Dooku back in, I think, around 2018, 2019. And this is a really nice inclusion, and it seems to be the standard going forward with most Black Series figures, at least with other characters from this wave. This is part of the latest fan channel wave and is packed alongside Quinlan Vos, Count Dooku, or Jedi Dooku should I say, and the Seventh Sister, and they all come with the swoosh effect blade. So that's a really, really nice inclusion, nice little bit of extra bang for buck, and it's something I'm really happy to see. If you've got these figures displayed in your own collection in dynamic poses, those swoosh blade effects are really welcome additions. He also comes with the Briar pistol as well, which again can be stored in the holster attached to his belt, and yeah, he just looks really, really good. So in terms of articulation, we have a ball joint at the bottom of the head and at the base of the neck, so you can get a really nice fluid range of movement out of that. Definitely get this guy in all the poses that you need him to fight the Dark Jedi and the Stormtroopers and all that sort of thing. We do have, as standard, butterfly joints at the shoulders. The shirt is actually a separate overlay. It's not a sculpted piece, which is really nice. And again, that aids that flexibility and posability in the shoulders. It allows you to pose the figure holding the lightsabers with two hands, which is always welcome. And it just creates a much more lifelike appearance for what is essentially a plastic toy, but it looks like the character dived right out of the screen and into our collections. We have hinges at the elbows and ball jointed wrists, which again has become the standard for articulation with Black Series figures, which I'm really happy to see. We also have a ball joint at the torso, ball hinges at the hips, or ball joints should I say, and then swivel cuts at the upper thigh, obviously with those legs being reused from Jedi Master Sol. We also have hinges in the knees. We have a hinge and rocker at the ankle as well. So articulation, once again, like the rest of the figure, absolutely top notch. I love the sculpted detail on this one. He's got all the creases and folds in the shirt. The gauntlets have this really nice sort of fake leather texture to them with little studs there at the ends. Really, really solid detail all round. But again, the main thing that really stands out to me about this figure is the head sculpt, which just looks absolutely phenomenal. And again, this is such a faithful representation and reflection of the character that has meant so much to me for so many years. So that's going to wrap up this review on Kyle Katarn. Once again, the latest addition to the Gaming Great subline of the Black Series, and a great addition to the line overall. If you're as big a fan of this character and the video game series in which he appears as I am, then you're going to be absolutely over the moon to add this figure to your own collection. As I mentioned earlier, he is currently available as part of the latest fan channel wave for pre-order over at staractionfigures.co.uk. His wave mates are equally as cool, and I'm just, again, blown away to finally have this figure in the collection. It's one that I never thought in a million years we'd see. It goes right up there on the list with Dash Rendar, Prince Shizor, and other figures from the expanded universe that I never thought we'd get in 6-inch form, and hopefully this opens the floodgates for many more legends and expanded universe characters in the future. I'm really hoping that we get a Jerick or a Disan at some point. Those would be absolutely killer to accompany this figure. And I just hope that I've done this one justice. As I mentioned, I've been advocating for this release for many years. To finally have it in my hands is so surreal, and it's probably, in my opinion, very biased opinion that may be, the best Black Series figure ever released. So go and grab one for yourself. Once again, video description, there is a link if you'd like to purchase one, and I'll be back with many more reviews very soon. Until then, as always, thank you for watching, keep collecting, and may the Force be with you.